Hey guys, how's it going? Captain Foley here with you today to just talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. But I kind of specifically want to talk about shows from the 70s and 80s, what you guys thought was good, what you guys liked, what you didn't like, that kind of thing. So, let me pull that up here. Let's see what you guys are saying. Hit that like button, guys. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up. Appreciate it. Yeah. We're going to see what you guys want to talk about and some of the best shows from the 70s and 80s. This could include the 60s. It could include the 90s somewhat. But 90s shows kind of where things fell apart. Not necessarily true, I know. But
polluting the planet is no longer the only option.
Goddamn YouTube showing me ads on my own video. Lily Julius throws in $5. Sorry I made you mad earlier. Here's to making the pug happy. You didn't make me mad earlier at all. It was just with the way you didn't make me mad earlier, trust me. Not at all. I was just like, oh, you actually want to do this like now? Because I thought you were just like talking about soon, not necessarily now. Plus I thought you wanted to like film it, and I'm like, it's not ready. It hasn't even been really talked about. That's all. But thank you, Olivia. Fleet Paw is here. Martin is here. Best shoes of the 70s and 80s. Elf, Moore and Mindy. Please tell me I didn't put shoes. No, I didn't. Okay, good. That would be bad. Yeah, Foley, TikTok. Let's film it now. Well, no. Pretty simple answer. The answer is no. Let me just move this pillow because it gives you more room on that chair. The mighty pug is here, as you guys can see. Donnie is here. Yeah, it was a kind of a shitty weekend, Donnie, for the Ivan Reitman thing, but Matt says, I always thought kangaroos were some fun shoes in the 80s. Ozzy has been a member for 25 months at the rank of Federation President. President, sir, welcome. How long was Commander Worf on ships? I don't know. He was on ships, though. Michael Dorn was one of the California Highway Patrol, or bike patrols. I don't know how long he was on there. That's actually a good question. I don't have an answer, Ozzy. I don't know. Gah, Mark and Mindy. Can't. Samuel is asleep. Can't what? Oh, film now. Yeah, we're not going to film now. We're not even going to film soon. We got a lot of preliminary work to do. But hey, that's something completely different. But no, I mean, last time we were talking about retro toys and we kind of got into a bunch of shows and things. And I just thought it would be cool to talk about your favorite shows and kind of get my opinions on them, if I've seen them, if I haven't. I've seen a lot of shows over the years. I grew up with a lot because I was born in 74, so I watched a lot of stuff my brothers and stuff to watch when I was a kid, and even my parents. And of course there's that bleed over into the 80s where 70s stuff from the 70s is still, you know, on the air and still playing, and lots of great shows come into those decades. So I don't know, I just kind of want to get your thoughts on things and, you know, hear what you guys have to say about your favorite shows. I mean, some of mine include, well, we could get into a whole separate video about 80s cartoons, because 80s cartoons was like the bomb diggity. But I mean, I want to hear your thoughts. Like some of my favorite shows, I guess, would be Magnum PI and Fall Guy and Battlestar Galactica, um, Star Trek, obviously, but you know, that kind of goes without saying around here. So, what did you think of Space 1999? My mom said she watched it, but I barely heard of it. It's funny you ask. I knew about Space 1999. I didn't see much of it. My brothers were into it kind of when I was too young to remember. And all I remember is my brother had the Moonbase Alpha model, which is basically a model of the entire moon base with like the moon's surface with craters and stuff, and little eagles for the landing pads. And I always got in trouble because I liked playing with the little eagles. I thought they were cool. So Barkley was on Chips as a guest star. Yeah, you're gonna find a lot of those actors were in a lot of your favorite shows. It's funny watching a show and being like, you know. So Donnie, well, there was breaking news this afternoon that Viacom CBS is changing its corporate name to Paramount Global, effective tomorrow morning. More info is a search away. Cool, don't care. Also saw a news article that the fourth JJ or Star Trek film is going to be set in the Kelvin universe. What a shock. And it's going to feature the original cast from the original 2009 film. And I'm like, okay, cool. Shane says my favorite from the 70s was The Bionic Woman and $6 Million Man, produced by Howard Bennett. I watched $6 Million Man. I don't remember watching Bionic Woman. I know she was on a few episodes of The $6 Million Man, but that's one that even my brothers for that had the toys for the $6 Million Man action figures. Even the what was his boss's name? The toy had a briefcase and had like a tape thing in it. Like, I can't remember the guy's name. But yeah, that's one of those ones that's just kind of on the periphery of my memory. Like, I did watch it. I'm obviously aware about it now. But as far as being a kid and watching it, I recall vague memories of it. But again, I was a little bit too young to kind of remember that stuff. So Michael Dorn on Chip, 60 episodes. Wow. Matt Boardman, I remember watching Doogie Howser back in the 80s. I don't remember much about the show except the one where he wanted to sleep with his girlfriend and whether he should or not. Oh, MPH. Yeah, I remember Doogie Howser as well. Again, not too vividly. It's one that doesn't really stick out in my mind. But yeah, I do remember watching some Doogie Howser. Speaking of Magnum PI, I began work on my recreation of its theme music. Nice. That's one of my favorite theme songs from that period. Matt Boardman says, not sure what that says about me. That's the only episode of the show I can remember. Says a lot about you, Matt, but that's okay. We still love you. Fleetpa, that you had sex on the mind a lot when you were younger. That's what it means, yes. Julian Penn puts in $5. I just had to look up the name, but do you remember Automan? I have childhood memories of a Lego cursor being able to draw me a real motorcycle. Thank you for the super chat, Julian. I would drink to that. See, that's one of the Automan's an anomaly because honestly, I don't remember Automan. I only heard about Automan probably 2 or 3 years ago. I'm like, how the fuck did I not know this growing up? This is about a computer program guy, dude, that can turn into a helicopter and a Lamborghini Countach, and it's very Tron-like with the blue lighting and stuff. And I'm like, I didn't know this was a thing. Desi Arnaz's kid is in it. I think it only lasted one season, and that might be one of the reasons that I didn't see it, because we didn't have cable when I was a kid. We had like just a few channels until I was, if I went into my grandma's place in Stratford in the city, then she had cable, and I could watch this, different shows. But generally, we didn't get a lot of the those kind of shows where we lived. We had like 4 channels, and yeah. Anyway, it's because we lived in the country, and the cable line didn't go by our house, but because we lived between 2 smaller towns, eventually they did put a line through when I was probably around 10 or 11, maybe. And then we did get cable. So, Oscar Goldman, thank you, Shane. That's his name. Yes, my brother Steve had the Oscar Goldman toy, and also the $6 Million Man action figure, where you could look through the back of his head. There was like for his bionic eye, and he had the peel away skin on the forearm with the circuitry in it. Yeah, and there's also one. I don't think this was a $6 Million Man toy, and maybe one of you guys will remember, but there was an action figure that was the same size. It was like the 12-inch figure, but the guy had a clear chest with, like, you could see his lungs and everything, and his circulatory system. And when you push the button on his back, you could see the blood like pumping through the veins, and his lungs would expand and contract. And I thought that was the coolest thing ever. My brother probably still has it, but it's one of those things. When I was young, I used to play with my brother's toys a lot of times when I wasn't supposed to, because I remember getting in trouble for that quite a bit. And I would break 1 or 2 things possibly. And yeah, so my brother also had like the original G.I. Joes, the 12-inch G.I. Joes with the kung fu grip and the real lifelike hair. He also had the Johnny West action figures, and I thought those were cool when I was a kid, especially the accessories that came with the G.I. Joe stuff, like the sarcophagus and what else did they have? I think there's a sarcophagus and a mummy that came with the one set. But yeah, anyway, like that stuff was so cool. Yeah, and I used to get in trouble for playing with my brother's stuff all the time. I always thought they had cooler toys than I did when I was young. And then, once I got to a certain age, can't remember when, but then I was getting all the new G.I. Joes, because the new G.I. Joe had came out. I had a bunch of those, and I was more into G.I. Joe as a kid than Transformers. Now I'm probably more into Transformers, so it's kind of taken a swap. I still have all my original G.I. Joe toys, which I need to get out and display at some point. But yeah, so anyway, that kind of went off on a side note. Donnie says, the original Doogie introduced me to Neil Patrick Harris. I love the show and its Disney Plus reboot that stars Peyton Elizabeth Lee, whom I've loved as a titular character, and Andy Mack. Stephen Heckert, I remember the Rodney King LA riots episode of Doogie Howser. I don't remember that. I do remember the Rodney King thing being a thing, and watching that on late night news at my grandma's place, because I was staying over at her place for some reason. And yeah, I remember, yeah, I didn't know what the hell was going on, and I just didn't, I was young. I don't know how old I was at the time, but yeah. Rudy Wells credit the $6 Million Man and Bionic Woman 2. Donnie says, I love Automan. Matt says, after the last time when we were talking about Captain Power, I had to look it up. Short of buying the DVD set, the only way of watching it online is on YouTube. Well, that's cheaper than buying it on the complete set. So he says, I love Captain Power, and I'm sad that it hasn't gotten some more love over the years. I feel like it was a show ahead of its time. It was, but that was totally a marketing gimmick for toys. And I know all 80's cartoons were just half-hour long toy commercials. I get it. But I feel like Captain Power really took that to the extreme with the shooting at the TV and being interactive. I could be wrong. I mean, Transformers, G.I. Joe, Thundercats, they were all just half-hour long toy commercials. And some of them are better done than others, especially with the storylines and the characters. Some were very obviously not thought out well. A lot of those didn't last long. But even with Transformers that did last quite a while, all of a sudden new characters would show up and you're like, how the hell did they get there? No idea, no explanation, just because they wanted to sell me a toy. So, I mean, that is what it is. Shane said, I loved Rudy Wells. He could fix Steve and Jamie with duct tape and a lighter. The man from Atlantis. I've heard of that, but I don't know what it's necessarily about. Probably a man from Atlantis. Fleet Pot. It's fucking minus 15 degrees Celsius out right now, and I've been bitten by a fucking mosquito. How the hell is that even possible? What the actual fuck? Are you sure it's a mosquito, though? It could be a spider bite or something, especially if it's under your, like, where you would be wearing a jacket or something, because they crawl in there for warmth, and then you put it on and they bite you. And it can feel and seem very much like a mosquito bite. I doubt it was a mosquito. I doubt you're going to be seeing a mosquito at minus 15 degrees Celsius. Space Mime says, hey, Captain Foley, did you follow MASH or Dallas? MASH for sure. My dad watched MASH all the time. So I'm a big fan of MASH. I do love that. Dallas, not so much. That was like one of those, evening primetime soap operas. Dad wasn't into that. I know Mom would watch it occasionally, and I remember the theme music and the whole Who Shot JR thing. But very vague memories of that. My parents would watch things like Matlock, Spencer for Hire, Jake and the Fat Man, stuff like that I remember more than Dallas. Dallas wasn't on very much in the house, is what I'm saying. So, didn't really follow it per se, but MASH, yeah, I'd say I was more of a fan of MASH. Chuck A says, Stewart, Starfest Denver is a go. Frakes and Spiner are the first two guests. Cool. Yeah, I got an email from them saying that since I had been a presenter before, that they're wondering if I want to come back, and I'm considering it. I don't know about travel and stuff this year. Again, all last year and all the year before, I was like, wait till next year. And I'm getting sick of saying that old reprieve, but I don't want to make plans and then not be able to, keep them. So, I don't know. We'll see. Olivia Julia's $2. Can I see the puggy? She snores. She does snore. You can see her, I guess. If you really want to. Pug. Oh, sure. Here she is. It's there. Mission accomplished. You saw the pug. Hope you're happy. Let's see. Have you seen the Captain Planet episode in Belfast? No. Can't say as I have. Frying Minis, I grew up on the real Ghostbusters cartoon. Cool. Real Ghostbusters I never really got into either. Again, I can remember watching that occasionally at my grandma's place. But I think that might have been a little bit later, when I was a little bit older. I can't for sure remember. Don't know about that one. Donnie says, speaking of Paramount and the Transformers, I have heard the news about the new animated series on Paramount called Earthspark. On Paramount Plus, eh? Wow. It's the first time hearing about that. Space Mime. Captain Foley, were you a fan of Star Trek, the animated series, or Star Blazers? Star Trek, the animated series, was one of those odd anomalies as well. It's one of those ones you knew about, but it was kind of like whisperings of it. Like, was it really real? Is it mythical? And then you go to like a convention and you get one of the VHS tapes that has 2 episodes on it. I had two VHS tapes, two or three. So I had like a few episodes. One of them was Yesteryear, you know, because that's a good one to get. And I think the other one was the Counterclock Incident was on one of them. Because me, when I went to conventions and stuff, I didn't care about the actors. I don't give a shit. I was more concerned about ships and things. I would look for shirts that have the ships on them and little miniatures of ships, things like that. I didn't care about actors or, you know, I like the ships. So if I looked at the back of the VHS and the picture for the episode was the Enterprise, I'd be like, hey, there you go. I think the Counterclock Incident had that. And so I had like four of the animated Star Trek shows. My brothers had said they had seen some and told me about some of them that I thought they were bullshitting me, because it was one of those things you never knew. I didn't really have a grasp on how many episodes there were. There was no way to look it up. You know, there was just like this VHS tape that I had in a cardboard sleeve, and it was blue, and it had the characters on the front doing their run pose, and on the back it had like a description of two of the episodes that were on there. So I had it like two or three of those for years, and then they released the whole series on DVD, which I finally picked up. So then I got a chance to watch them all, and so I never watched it on TV though. It was never aired anywhere that I could watch. So as for Star Blazers, yeah, Star Blazers was one of those things that I would get exposed to when I went to my friend Ash's place. He was a big fan of that, and I don't know. He was another one that they had cable, and yeah, I just never really got into Star Blazers. I think it's an interesting concept and cool visuals and stuff, but I'm not a huge anime fan, so just never solidified for me. But Ash is a huge Star Blazers fan, so. Fleet Paw. No, it was on my hand. It was some kind of stupid prick of a bug. The mosquito seems like the best explanation. Doesn't though, not in this weather. Don't buy it. Matt Boardman, I used to like the Logan's Run TV series. I think it was reruns by the time I saw it, but still thought it was cool as a kid. SC Scout Guy, I've been watching Tour of Duty on Heroes and Icons channel lately. Tour of Duty, my dad used to watch. I love the theme song. I love the opening. I love that show. I got some really good memories of watching that with my dad. But yeah, that's another good show for sure. The Man from Atlantis, starring Patrick Duffy from TV series Dallas. Cool. The Dukes of Hazzard with my dad and siblings, reruns by that time, but still awesome. Loved the Dukes of Hazzard. I was a huge Dukes of Hazzard fan. I had a huge, thick Dukes of Hazzard coloring book, and I always had the dinky cars. I always had the Roscoe P. Coltrane's cop car, the General Lee, Daisy's Jeep, Boss Hogg's convertible. It used to come in like a 4 set, and you could also buy the General Lee separate. My General Lee was always getting jumped off of things for some reason, so it always kept getting dinged up. So I always had to get a new one, so I always had to buy like a new General Lee. The other cars were pretty good. The cop car I didn't really care about too much, but I did end up having to get one of those as a replacement. But I really enjoyed banging those cars around. I also had the bigger plastic one where the roof pops up and you got the two action figures to put in there, but there's like no floor in the car, just the seats. It was really weird. But I had that one with the flip down roof. Yeah, I was a huge fan of Dukes of Hazzard, and I think they're probably responsible for my love of cars and driving fast and having fun. So yeah, amen to the Dukes of Hazzard, man. Donnie Pearson, the 1990s sitcom called Step by Step, introduced me to Patrick Duffy. Step by Step I never really watched, but I was aware of it. Did you see $6 Million Man and Bionic Woman? Like I said, I remember seeing some $6 Million Man. I don't remember watching Bionic Woman, though. I know that she was on $6 Million Man show, but I don't remember watching her show. The Incredible Hulk. Dun, 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 dun. That's sad music. Yes, I remember watching The Incredible Hulk and Wonder Woman. My dad liked watching Wonder Woman, and I never could understand why. It's like, why do you like this show, Dad? Ah, nah, it's a good show. I know why he liked Wonder Woman now that I'm older. Hell yeah. Linda Carter? Mm-hmm. Okay, Stuart, if you go to Starfleet or Starfest, I'll see you there. Good night. All right, Chuck. I'll try to make it. We'll see. Donnie says, I love Captain Planet, to be honest. Belfast is on my bucket list, as is the rest of the United Kingdom. Matt Boardman, another fun cartoon I liked was Brave Star. Yeah, I like Brave Star too. Especially the thing that really pulled me into Brave Star was the Sherlock Holmes episode. It was a two-parter where Sherlock Holmes when he fell off Reichenbach Falls, went through a time warp and ended up with Marshall Bravestar on the planet of New Texas. New Texas, I think, was the planet. And then a lawman came with power of wolf, bear, eagle, and whatever. Yeah, fucking Bravestar is awesome, man. Damn. Donnie says next year marks the 50th anniversary of the original animated Star Trek series. I love its score and music. Oh, fuck off. Donnie, I lost all respect for you. The music in Star Trek the Animated Series is shite, man. I hate the music in the animated series. None of it's any good. That dun 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 dun. It's ridiculous. No. I can hear it in my head now, and I hate it. Some of the background music wasn't too bad because it was background, but even that they dialed out too loud sometimes. No, the music in the animated series, I'm just not a fan, dude. I'm glad you are, but can't do it. I love space battleship, Shimano, and Star Blazers. Yes. Fleet Power, let's see, 70s and 80s, MASH, I don't know what time period the rest of the stuff falls into. Just mention it all, we'll just talk about it. What happened to the Planet of the Apes animated series? Don't know, didn't know they had one. I love Lucy, for fuck's sakes. Well, that's definitely earlier. And I Dream of Jeannie, Bewitched, and The Match Game. I remember The Match Game and Bumper Stumpers. Oh, if we're gonna get into game shows, I used to watch a lot of those too. Family Feud. Family Feud was like one of my mom's favorite shows, as was Wheel of Fortune, which is still on here now. So, yeah, but I Dream of Jeannie, we watched that a lot. Bewitched as well. I Love Lucy, not so much, but one of my girlfriends, years and years and years ago, was a huge I Love Lucy fan, so we watched all those. So I have seen it, but yeah. Julian Penn throws in another $5. Thank you so much, Julian. Captain, have you watched much of Cheers and Frasier and or Wings? Watched Cheers all the time. I fucking love Cheers. Yeah, Cheers was one of those ones we watched all the time. So I love that. Love Cheers. Frasier, I never got into Frasier. Never watched any of it. I'd see the odd part of an episode here or there, but never really got into it. And Wings, again, that's one of those ones that I'd see parts of episodes. So I'm well aware of what Wings is, and yeah, there's some funny moments for sure, but I've never seen all of the episodes for sure. So El Rodimus, 80's Manimal. Yes, I mention Manimal to people, and they look at me like I have 5 fucking heads. They're like, what the fuck is, I've never heard of that. Manimal was amazing. The guy could turn into a snake, a black panther, an eagle, forget what else. But yeah, that was one of those weird shows that nobody seems to know about. The Darth Eddie, for me, the early to mid 80s was about 2 Kenneth Johnson produced series, The Incredible Hulk and the 2 V miniseries plus the V weekly series. I remember when V came out, that was a big deal. That miniseries, my brothers were so into that. Like I said last time when we talked about this, watching them eat the rats really freaked me out as a kid, but I thought it was such a cool effect. And now you look at that and you're like, wow, that's what you went with. those are the effects. Oof, rough. Donnie says the theme tune is what I love about the Dukes of Hazzard. Yeah, Dukes of Hazzard theme song is amazing. Waylon Jennings. Yeah, Waylon Jennings. El Rodimus Flash, 70s Wonder Woman, and Wilma. Buck Rogers. Bigger. Yeah. Yeah, man. Space Mime. The original He-Man was great. It was. Filmation. Ting. He-Man. Yeah, I loved He-Man. Didn't have any of the toys though. That's weird. I don't know why that is. I liked the show, but I never had any of the toys for He-Man. Speaking of, I do need to do an unboxing video for the vintage He-Man and Skeletor and Battle Cat that I picked up. So I need to do that. Yesterday I filmed 3 Eagle Monster reviews. Edited one. You're going to see that on Thursday this week. And so expect more Eagle Monster reviews and stuff coming now. So they're on, the Eagle Monster reviews are going to be on the Trekyards channel and the Captain Foley personal channel, but the He-Man and stuff like that, that's going to all be on the Captain Foley personal channel. So if you're not subscribed, go subscribe. But Linda Carter was the second Wonder Woman to the TV series. Didn't know that. SC Scout Guy, Ulysses 31 is a lesser known 80s cartoon that I really enjoyed back then. Doesn't ring a bell for me. Does anyone remember the 80s cartoon Count Duckula? Yes? Hell yeah. Donnie Pearson, Opinion respected. I'm just being honest though. I love the few other Ray Ellis compositions as well, including the original theme for the NPCs today. Yeah, just I can't get behind the music of the Star Trek the Animated Series, and to be fair, I can't get by most of the TOS music. Most of the TOS music is pretty garbage too. So, just saying, not a fan. Star Trek Animated used stock music that was in every Filmation show as background music, but that opening fucking music for that show was awful. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. No, stop. MacGyver. Fuck yeah. Big fan of MacGyver. My brother and I used to go my brother used to be like, that's ridiculous. Because one thing MacGyver was hitting like this metal rod against the rock, and then he put it down a grate to pick up a paper clip or a key or something. So you're like hitting the rod against the thing to magnetize it. And my brother was like, that's stupid. So we went out to my parents' backyard. My parents have a 4.5 acre backyard. Like, it was a great place to grow up as a kid. So I got lots of trouble there. But my brother got this, it's a big metal spike that you use for, like, I don't know what you'd fucking use it for, digging holes, like soften up the ground or whatever. And he's like, watch. And he's like banging it. And then he's trying to use it as a magnet. You see, it doesn't work. It's like, it's probably not the same kind of metal. I don't know. He always tried to disprove MacGyver. Donnie says, I love Lucy as well, especially the wonderful theme tune. Press Your Luck. Yeah. I love the Family Feud and Wheel of Fortune as well. Yeah, I'm a big fan of both of those as well. I don't watch them, but every now and then I'll throw on a celebrity Family Feud from the 70s or something on YouTube, because Family Feud's fun. Family Feud's a fun game to play. Hez says, used to watch Quantum Leap before school with my mom. I know it was 1989 to 93, but still it was good. Yeah, Quantum Leap was good. I was older though for sure. Terminator. Anyone say Mork and Mindy yet? Yeah, it was like the first thing said. Nanu. Matt Boardman. I love Frasier. It cracks me up. It took me a bit to get into it, but now I laugh my head off. Yep. I mean, I've been told by my brother that I should watch Frasier, that I'd love it. I've also been told I should watch Seinfeld. Never just got into it. It just wasn't my thing. Never got into Friends, you know. But I mean, Who's the Boss? Growing Pains. Oh, Family Ties. Used to watch that all the time. So there's quite a few older ones that I really was into. Remington Steele, yeah. My mom and dad liked watching Remington Steele. Julian Penn says, "Did you watch Family Ties?" Yes, with Alex P. Keaton, Michael J. Fox. Fleet Paw says, "So let's see. I remember Mama's Family, great show. Golden Girls, yeah, I would watch that with my grandma. But the 90s, the Brady Bunch, Beverly Hillbillies, My Favorite Martian, and a lot of 70s and 80s shows. Brady Bunch never really watched. Honestly, Beverly Hillbillies watched occasionally. I remember a lot of some of those. My Favorite Martian, never watched that for some reason. Again, I think it's all what was available on the channels that we had available to us. So, Automan is another show most people never heard of. Yeah, I'd had Sergeant Montgomery. Like I said, I didn't hear of Automan until like 2 or 3 years ago. Did you ever watch Sledgehammer? Yes. Yes, Sledgehammer. That's one that I haven't heard in a long time, actually. Yeah, I should look into that because and refresh myself with it. But yes, I remember Sledgehammer. Excuse me. Squadron Course. See, what we needed was Knight Rider, Dukes of Hazzard crossover episode. Yeah. Knight Rider, always awesome. Airwolf. Yeah. Fantasy Island. Look past the plane. Yeah, we used to watch Fantasy Island all the time as well. And The Love Boat. Da-na-na. Soon we'll be making another run. The Love Boat. My mom was big into The Love Boat. My dad didn't enjoy it quite so much, I don't think, but he watched it still. But yeah, I remember watching The Love Boat quite a bit. Brave Star, yeah, talked about that. Eric Martin throws in $2. I love The Rockford Files. I never got into The Rockford Files, honestly. Although I had a pretty good taste in car with that Firebird, but still. Donnie says, speaking of Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy, I'm watching a new episode of the former Seattle's Como 4, followed by those of the latter and its National College Champion spinoff. The Darth Eddy Airwolf, the best helicopter on TV, with the arguable exception of TC's on Magnum PI. Yeah, love TC's chopper. I don't think you can compare Airwolf and TC's chopper, though. You can compare Airwolf and Blue Thunder somewhat, but Matt Boardman, does anyone remember the 80s cartoon Cops? Yes. They had some super fun toys that had cap guns for the figures. Yes. Cops, the central organization of police specialists. Fighting crime in a future time. Yes, I remember Cops. And Mask. Perry Mason. Never really got into Perry Mason. My grandmother watched that. Matt Boardman, does anyone remember the 80s card? Oh, read that one. Sorry, never mind. Moving on. Yes, I love Doctor Who, Flash Gordon, and Blake 7. Never watched Doctor Who until the hell's his name? When it came back. It wasn't Matt Smith, it was the guy before him. That's when I started watching it, and I kind of got into it a little bit and then very quickly got out of it. As for Flash Gordon, never really watched it. Blake 7, never really watched it. Ulysses 31 still holds up. The Odyssey set it in space. Oh, how can I forget the animated show that aired on reruns and network? It's crime fighting time. And the pilot of Wonder Woman was a blonde for the TV series. Didn't know that, man. Voltron? Oh, yes. Yes, Voltron is amazing. Fleet Pass Swiftback. Ooh, Unsolved Mysteries and America's Most Wanted. Watched all of those, yes. Absolutely. Matt says we made a fertilizer bomb following stuff we saw. MacGyver, Jesus Christ. The thing with MacGyver is they always left one key thing out of each of the things that he did, just so people couldn't replicate them. So, anyone mention A-Team? Nope, not yet, but there you go. How about Galactica 1980? Original Galactica, awesome. Galactica 1980, not so much. Great shows and great theme tunes, Gab. Hell yeah. SC Scout Guy, I've been watching Chips lately and the episodes still hold up. Let's not forget Murder, She Wrote. Murder, She Wrote. Watch that all the time for some reason. I don't know why I liked it so much. But Murder, She Wrote was good. Moonlighting. My parents liked Moonlighting. Night Court and Married with Children. Ding, ding, ding. Night Court. I miss Night Court so much. I want to get Night Court. I want to get the complete series. I loved Night Court. That was a fun one for sure. It used to be on right before we had supper. I can't remember what came on before or after it, but yeah, it's one we watched all the time. The two best sitcoms of the 80s, if you had a skewed, disturbed sense of humor. Yeah, Married with Children would not get made today. Punky Brewster, Jesus Christ. Never really watched Punky Brewster, but was well aware of it. Misha, who's been a member for 18 months at the rank of Captain, Sir, just now got an email saying my Galactica from Blood and Chrome and Shuttle Pack number 8 shipped. ETA is Thursday. Awesome. Glad for you, man. Too Close for Comfort was funny. Yes. Oh my God, you're bringing back so many memories, guys. Too Close for Comfort, The Odd Couple. My brain's not clear tonight because I can't think of anything. Sure, the original A-Team series was produced by Universal Television. Matt says Night Court was hilarious. Hell yeah. Perfect Strangers was my jam for about 2 or 3 years in a row. Says the Darth Eddie. Colin Barrett says Knight Rider was good, still waiting for a decent reboot. Recent attempts have been disappointing. Well, there was Team Knight Rider, which was a dumb fucking concept from the beginning. Then you got Knight Rider, and I don't know about you guys, but Kit's a pretty important character. Just saying. Let's try not to make him a fucking Mustang. Who's gonna watch that? I didn't watch that show for that very reason. Ooh, you have a Mustang as your car. Ooh, and thank God it can turn into other cars, because who the fuck wants to have a Mustang? But anyway, yeah, bad idea. A good reboot of Knight Rider would be nice. Basically, I'm just trying to remember what the whole TV land lineup was during the daytime hours. Yeah, I know, man. SC Scout Guy, I remember watching 8 is Enough with my family a good bit. Never really watched that one. Julian Penn, I watched the new Knight Rider, and with low expectations, I actually liked it. Squadron Course, $1, so thank you very much, Squadron Course. Matt Boardman, not that this was a show that I ever watched. When you start a sentence off like that, that's what you watched. But to this day, I have a disdain for Little House on the Prairie because it still always signified the end of cartoons for the afternoon. I remember watching that when we went over to my mom's parents' place. They used to watch that all the time. It was on occasionally at our house too. I think my mom liked it. But yeah, Little House on the Prairie, I'd forgotten about that. Let's not forget Michael Landon in Highway to Heaven. Who remembers Highway to Heaven, man? That was a pretty good show. That was kind of like Quantum Leap, but instead of the time travel science fiction aspect, it was he's an angel religious aspect. Good show, though. Misha, $5. Singing. Oh, the singing. I can make your ears bleed, Misha. Never said I was a good singer, but I like to torture you guys. Does anyone remember Captain Power and the Soldiers of the Future? SC Scout guy? Matt does. I remember it too. Never had any of the toys though, but Squadron Course, did you know that there's a helicopter tour biz in Hawaii that has a replica of TC's chopper? Yes, my parents actually went to Hawaii for their 25th or 30th wedding anniversary many, many, many years ago, and they did the tour of like the Magnum PI tour of the islands. So yes, they went on that, and they didn't rent a Ferrari to drive around, but you could have, and they also went to the old estate from the original show. So yeah. Hezraz, remember for 19 months of the rank of Commander, the Raccoons TV show on CBS. Oh yeah, I remember the Raccoons. Snide, sneer. Yeah, the Raccoons, I remember watching that on my little 13-inch black and white TV that I had in my room. I was the youngest kid. My other brothers were out of the house. I got a TV. My brothers hated me for it because they never had a TV, but I had a little 13-inch black and white TV, and my dad had made me a desk that fitted in there perfectly, and those were the days, man. Those were the days. Oh. Fleet Pass Swiftback. I liked Some Little House on the Prairie, but wasn't too big into it. Matt says the Raccoons was amazing. Christopher Eccleston, thank you, Fleetpaw. That's the Doctor Who that started me watching the Doctor Who. Matt Boardman, I used to love Captain N and the N Team. Never heard of that. Squadron Course, you won't see this for 5 minutes, but the Doctor before Matt Smith was David Tennant. Oh yeah, I didn't watch David Tennant because I thought he was an asshole. So I remember watching the Eccleston stuff, and I hated Rose. I can't fucking stand that woman. And then David Tennant was a bit of an asshole, and I just didn't like him, and so I didn't watch any of his stuff. And then when Matt Smith came on, I liked Matt Smith, so I watched Matt Smith ones. Grizzly Adams shit. Crazy to think that The Simpsons started back in the 80s. I know, on the Tracy Ullman show, as like little spots between skits. SC Scout guy used to watch Rescue 911 with Shatner. Yes, I remember. I watched that too, and I was always like so scrutinizing. I want to see his sideburns, because if his sideburns are, that point, that means they're making another Star Trek movie. My brothers thought I was an idiot, which I would have been, because he wouldn't have had it all the time, especially for another show that he was doing. Anyway, whatever. Yeah, I remember waiting for a new Star Trek show, or hearing rumors of not a new show, but a new movie. Hearing rumors of a new movie and watching Rescue 911, going, I wonder when this was filmed. Wonder if he goes off the set of this and goes and films some of Star Trek. It's like, no, I don't think that's how it works, son. Ooh, Phineas and Bog from Voyagers. I mentioned Voyagers to a lot of people, and Phineas Bog, and nobody knows what the fuck I'm talking about. With the little compass, the time travel compass. Yeah, man. That was a show that I loved. I remember loving that, but it didn't last long. Greatest American Hero. Awesome show. Awesome show. Eric Martin, I like the original Battlestar Galactica, but not 1980. No one did. Not to be confused with Reno 911. No. Misha, Murder, She Wrote had the highest body count of any 80s series. Wow. Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman, was that the 80s? Yeah. And Jane Seymour. Oh, Jane Seymour. I could watch her all day, every day. Murder, She Wrote. Lady lives in a small village in Cork. Glad I didn't live there. Murder capital of Ireland. Colin Barrett. I really liked Adventures in Babysitting with Anthony Rapp co-starred in. They made a pilot of TV with Jennifer Guthrie, Joni Lawrence, and Brian Austin Green. Did not get picked up though. Yeah. I didn't know Anthony Rapp was in that until probably 2 years ago. But Elizabeth Shue, man. Oh, Elizabeth Shue, she could babysit me any day. Moving on. I can imagine Paramount Plus reboot simply titled Rescues. Murder, She Wrote, Magnum, Simon and Simon had a crossover with one another as part of a story arc. Yes, yep. Simon and Simon was good as well. Let's not forget Rescue Rangers, Chippendale Rescue Rangers, Darkwing Duck. Shit. I always loved how the off-the-wall moonlighting could be. Search YouTube for moonlighting Dr. Seuss. I'll do that later. Colin says, Jessica Fletcher, the angel of death. Everywhere she went, someone was murdered. If she turns up at your door, don't let her in. Or you too could be murdered. Dr. Quinn debuted in 93. Close enough. All in the Family, The Jeffersons, Sanford and Son. I love, used to watch Sanford and Son and The Jeffersons. All in the Family a little bit. I remember that, but I don't think my parents let me watch that one. But The Jeffersons, moving on up to the east side with a deluxe apartment in the sky high. And then there's Different Strokes, and man, TV was good back then. Matt Boardman, there was a show in the 90s called Viper, which I thought was cool. I remember Viper with the Dodge Viper that turned into like a military version of a Dodge Viper or an armored version. Interesting premise, yes. Misha, $5. Apparently I didn't watch enough TV in the 80s. I wasted too much time reading, I suppose. I don't even know how to take that comment, but there you go. Thank you. Anthony Lauder, did you ever watch a show called Star Blazers, and have you done an episode of the ships of the series called the Argo and Yamato? I think we did a Yamato on Trekyards, but no, I never really watched the show. But I think we did do a Yamato episode, if I remember correctly. There should be a Trekyards episode on Star Blazers. I think it's the Yamato. Pretty sure. 92% sure. Fleet Paul, will look it up now. Donnie says, I love the entire Knight Rider universe, not just the original 82 series. Bah. Colin Barrett, yes, Angela Lansbury lives about 15 miles away from me. I usually avoid her after accidentally allowing her to shut in a shop once. Yes, Highway to Heaven, great show. Dude, I loved Highway to Heaven. The opening theme song still gets me. Fleet Pause already found the mission briefing for Trekyards on the Yamato, so there you go. The Darth Eddy, Landon was on network TV for almost 31 years straight. First on Bonanza. My dad loved that show. Then Little House on the Prairie, then Highway to Heaven. In 1959 till 1990, there was almost no time without him on TV. Misha, I watched Little House with my grandmother. Deal was she watched Batman with me as well. Then I it with her though. With her through that. Randy Delp, I was forced to watch The Waltons as a kid. Is that the Goodnight Jim Bob? Goodnight Mary Jo. Goodnight Jo Beth. Goodnight Pa. Goodnight Ma. Goodnight John Boy. I think that's the one. Every time we went camping, my brothers would do that. It was dark. Everybody was in their sleeping bags. Be quiet for like 10 minutes. And you hear, Night Pa. Night John Boy. I remember John Boy for some reason. I can't remember anybody else's name from that fucking show. Squadra Course, $2. Had time to do more reading. Misha made me ask. Well, I thought about it, but he can read with his fingers. Most of the shows produced by Glenn Larson was a genius. Garfield and Friends, yep. I can't believe I forgot Charlie's Angels. Mustangs in that were cool. Charlie's Angels was great. My dad loved that show as well. Unfortunately, Hawaii tore down the Robin's Nest estate. Did they? Oh no. Screw you, Hawaii. The Laser Tag show on Saturday morning. Yeah, there was a Laser Tag cartoon, wasn't there? Designing Women. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's not Hero Turtles. We're not in Britain. Chippendales Rescue Rangers, yes. I know it was early 90s, but I was obsessed with the X-Men cartoon, not the newer one. It's a good show. Let's not forget American Gladiators. I always wanted to do some challenges. The last one with the guy shooting the tennis ball gun always made me think of Running Man. Yes, Running Man was a good movie. Blackadder was brilliant. Still one of my favorite comedies. I haven't watched any Blackadder. Rose is friggin' annoying. All she does is cry and whine and complain. Remember watching Scooby-Doo, Inspector Gadget, He-Man, and Robotech? Scooby-Dooby-Doo, where are you? We need some help from you now. Inspector Gadget. And He-Man, yes. Robotech, never really watched Robotech. Donnie says, speaking of Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, I understand that the trailer for the movie version debuted this morning. I'm looking forward to that movie. Really? Wow. I didn't know that. Always wanted a Fall Guy truck, says Sergeant Montgomery. I have one. I found it like a month ago. It is downstairs right now in a bin. But yeah, I found my old Fall Guy truck. And it is beat the fuck up. It is a stuntman truck. But yeah, I have my original one. Squadron Course. I really like Matt Smith too. Also like Tom Baker. So it was extra cool to see Smith and Baker together. Did you ever watch Danger Bay, Stuart? It was a Canadian show, but we had it here on Disney Channel in the 80s. Danger Bay, yes. Don't remember a lot about it. There was also a show called Beachcombers, which I also don't remember much of. There's another great Canadian show called The Littlest Hobo. It's about a dog. And then Lauren Green's Wild Kingdom. Those were just like Sunday morning or Sunday night shows before Disney. Just watched T.J. Hooker with William Shatner. Yeah. Misha, $5. For someone else who likes Matt Smith more than David Tennant, we are a rare breed. Amen, Misha. I just think that David Tennant's a fucking asshole. I'm so arrogant and handsome and quirky. I have to regenerate into myself again. Go fuck yourself, dick. What I love about the 1950s series, the version of Perry Mason, was the theme music. Yeah, the theme music was always good for those old shows, man. There were some really great ones. Even the Beverly Hillbillies, love that one. I believe the Simpsons' own show started in 1989 Christmas episode. Okay. Fleet Paw said, what about us who like Capaldi more than Tennant or Smith? Capaldi's pretty good. I didn't mind Capaldi. But yeah. Donnie Pearson, the original Star Trek, introduced me to Bill Shatner. Well, yeah, everybody did. So that's the only reason people know who Shatner is. Mullen, 25, loved Buck Rogers and Incredible Hulk. Cheesy, but I was a little kid. Rambo cartoon series, yeah, I remember that one. My favorite British show was Benny Hill and Doctor Who. Me and my brother, my oldest brother, loved Benny Hill. We used to watch a lot. My mother fucking hated that show. It was always on late at night, and me and my brother would watch it. It's like the Thames thing. Dun, 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 dun. And the Thames thing comes up. And then, yeah, Benny Hill's fucking awesome. Colin Barrett, you can't do that on television was a big part of my childhood. God help me. Yeah. Matt said it. Gummy bears. Dun, 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 dun. That's Rescue Rangers. I have the Gummy Bears theme song on my MP3 player. I'll be cruising around in the Camaro, listening to like AC/DC and shit, and stop at the light. All of a sudden the fucking Gummy Bears comes on. It's like, shit, next. Didn't have my cruising playlist on. I'm sorry, guys. Yeah, the Gummy Bears theme song is amazing, by the way. Riptide with the big transport helicopters. Elf. Yeah. Did you see there's a new Chip and Dale thing coming out? Looks like style of Roger Rabbit. I haven't seen that, no. Elf is a great show. They actually did an Elf movie. It was awful. I didn't know that. Tailspin, yeah. I used to watch Super Dave in the 80s and loved it. Super Dave was on a show here in Canada that was called Bizarre, hosted by John Biner. And it's another show that me and my brother would watch all the time. I think it came on right before Benny Hill. But yeah, John Biner and Bizarre, it was filmed in Toronto. And they had his boss was the guy that played Super Dave. And then they had the Super Dave segments, which were separate. But yeah, John Biner and Bizarre. God damn, that's taking me back. My mom absolutely hated that shit too. She didn't enjoy that kind of humor. She thought it was, I don't know what she thought. But anyway. Eric Martin, $2, WKRP in Cincinnati, and Black Sheep Squadron. Never heard of Black Sheep Squadron, but WKRP in Cincinnati. Baby, if you ever wondered whatever became of me, I'm living on the air in Cincinnati. Cincinnati, WKRP. Got kinda tired of packing and unpacking. Town to town, up and down that dial. Baby, you and me will never meant to be. Baby, think of me once in a while. I'm at WKRP in Cincinnati. Yeah, I'm not a good singer. I don't care though. Hit that like button, guys. We have 39 likes with 40 people here. I'm sure we can do better. Some more super chats would be fantastic. I would love that. So if you're able to, please do. Eric grab that one. Donnie, the 90s Fox animated series Daredevil for Hire introduced me to Super Dave. Haven't heard of Daredevil for Hire. Squadron Corps, speaking of Space Battleship Yamato, I rather like the live-action Captain Harlock from 2013. Haven't seen that either. What about G-Force? Everybody remember G-Force? Or it's actually called Battle of the Planets. And then there was the Mighty Hercules. Astro Boy. I watched Astro Boy. I say I don't like anime, but I really enjoyed Astro Boy when I was a kid. I remember before school it would always be Astro Boy, Battle of the Planets, and the Mighty Hercules. And yeah, that brings back some memories. My second favorite 1 hour action series of the 60s is The Wild Wild West. Jim West was about the only hero worthy of sharing the spotlight with James T. Kirk. Until the movie. Let's be fair. Miami Vice. Crockett and Tubbs. Misha, Braille has been a thing since the 19th century, and books on tape have existed for decades too, so, yep, reading. Matt Boardman, there was a Dungeons & Dragons cartoon in the 80s I really enjoyed. Yes. I never saw that. I didn't even know that really existed until a few years ago as well. But, yeah, it looks really good. What about Danger Mouse? I don't know Danger Mouse. I know Mighty Mouse. Where on Earth is Carmen Sandiego? Never really watched that. The original American Gladiators introduced me to Bill Conti. I love his music. Everything is about music with you, Donnie. Every second comment is about music. No, Hawaii didn't tear down Magnum State. No, Hawaii didn't turn down Magnum State. Former President Obama thought bought the Magnum State. So Obama bought the Magnum, the original Robin's Nest. Huh. Matt Boardman, I do remember Danger Bay. I used to watch it on Disney Channel. I watched The Smurfs too. I know it hasn't aged well. I watched The Smurfs too. I remember watching that in the mornings. Fall Guy Truck, impressive. Do you remember a show called Riptide? I used to enjoy that one. It sounds vaguely familiar, and I can't place it right now. I probably didn't watch it. Alvin and the Chipmunks, yes. Anne of Green Gables was another 80s Canadian show that they had here on public broadcast television. Yes, Anne of Green Gables. Didn't really watch it. Magic and magic and mystery are part of their history along with the secret of Rangers. Okay, I can't get the tune in my head, but once I do, I won't shut up because I know it. I could look it up, but I'm not going to. I don't want to torture you guys with my singing of the Gummy Bears song. Pretty sure the two David doctors fucking each other was one of the Christmas specials. Wow, Misha. Fraggle Rock, yes, Fraggle Rock. The Muppet Show, hell yeah. El Capitan, your YouTube channel sucks. Only an idiot would send you any money. Sobraxis, what's up, man? That's not cool. Donnie Pearson, speaking of Family Feud, Cat, thoughts about the CBC Family Feud Canada with host Gary D? It's alright. The guy's a little dead on delivery. He's not very funny, but hey. Fame and Dallas were popular here in Ireland in the 80s. Newhart. There's not a season of that show that's bad. The 1980s Newhart is peak sitcom in some ways. Yeah, I remember watching Newhart. DuckTales, Battle of Planets, Diagnostic Murder, Captain Harlock, never watched it. The Herculoids, I think, was in the 70s. That sounds familiar, but I can't recall. Beachcombers, yes. Black Sheep Squadron TV. Spencer for Hire and the Emissary. Yeah, Spencer for Hire had his buddy was Hawk. Hawk got his own spin-off series called A Man Called Hawk, which was Avery Brooks. Peter Lukaku, $5. I was a big fan of Captain Power. I think it was the first interactive TV show. Yeah, I think it was. Thank you for the super chat, sir. Apparently you're an idiot, though, according to Sobraxis, but Street Hawk, never liked Street Hawk, honestly. Trapper John MD was one of the only dramatic spin-offs of a comedy that was strange to see a MASH character in the later years without any laughter in the soundtrack, but it was a good show. Yes, Trapper John MD. Also another good one was Quincy ME, Quincy Medical Examiner. Don't know if anybody remembers that one. As far as best TV show of the 80s, there's only one answer. Knight Rider. Donnie says, I myself have completed my Knight Rider binge watch on Peacock. I have yet to do a Knight Rider binge watch, but I'm sure it'll happen. Well, Cap, there is indeed a first time for everything. Was there a Star Wars weekly show in the 80s? No. Droid was good, so was Ewoks. The Waltons. Squadron Course, yeah, I watched the Ewoks quite a bit when I was a kid, and Droids. I love Droids. But Squadron Course puts in $2, no worries. Reading, just curious, have a drink. Thank you. Alright, Road to Avonlea, but I reckon that was the early 90s. Yeah, that would have been early to mid-90s for sure. But yeah, I remember Road to Avonlea. Never watched it, but Sobraxis says, I watched action cartoons such as Silverhawks, original Ninja Turtles, Transformers, and Centurions. By the way, the teleport tech Centurions use is the future of Starfleet's transporter technology. Cool. I never really watched Silverhawks. Original TMNT, yes. Transformers, yes. Centurions, not really. But let's see. This is my brother Daryl, my other brother Daryl. Okay, Ozzy. The Darth Eddie. Columbo is my all-time favorite detective series. The 1970s episodes are the best, but even the 89, 2003 episodes made for another network have their gems. Yes, Columbo was great. There was even a spin-off a series called about Columbo's wife, and that was played by Captain Janeway. What the hell's her name? Why can't I think of anybody's name tonight? Wow. Captain Janeway. Fuck me. Little House on the Prairies, yes. Cerberus says, otherwise, that was a joke about the idiot sending you money. After all, I am obviously your member. Yeah, that's why I was like, why would Subraxis be saying that? I was like shocked. I was looking at the name and going, wait a minute, what the hell? And I was almost like, oh, he's going to be hidden on the channel now. But then I'm like, no. I'll see what's up with that. I'm going to have to talk to him later and find out what's going on. What did I do to annoy you, man? All right, so thank you, Subraxis. Knight Rider versus Airwolf would be an epic movie. Hell yeah. Don't forget one important thing. Hi, Captain. How are you? Just popped in for a moment. LOL. Oh, darn. I forgot one important. Hi, Ers. Walker, Texas Rangers, 90s, but still goodish. Kids in the Hall. Dave Foley for the win. Misha, I have a bad memory related to Silverhawks. Not joking this time. Honestly brings back a bad day. Well, then don't talk about it, because then I'm going to read it and you're going to hear it again. You're going to think about it more, so just stop. Colin Barrett, and the time Janeway was married to Columbo. Yeah, Kate Mulgrew, that's her name. Thank you. Like I said, my brain's not quite braining tonight. Eric Martin, WKRP is the phone cops and the real cops are in on it. As God is my witness, I thought turkeys could fly. Columbo must have been pretty popular if he got Kate Mulgrew to marry him. Hell yeah. Julian Penn says, Twilight Zone 80's, Tales from the Dark Side, Outer Limits, Tales from the Crypt, and Amazing Stories. Yeah, all great. Never really watched many of them, honestly. Those are ones I appreciated later when I was a little bit older. Welcome back, Cotter. John Travolta got his start on that show. Yeah, I never got into that shit. Honestly, so. I like both the original and remastered versions of Walker, to be honest. I haven't seen the new ones, so. A little bit of trivia, true or false. Kid appeared in an episode of Baywatch. I just saw a video on YouTube saying, was Kid in Baywatch, and I didn't click it yet. I forget the channel that I'm subscribed to that talks about Knight Rider. I'm going to say yes, he was. Tracy Ullman show, hell yeah. Misha, $5. Who loves 60 Minutes? Miami Vice, yes. Ozzy says, from the Newhart show, Bob Newhart was in charge of, and you had Larry and two Daryls. Misha, $5. Cosby Show, yep, I went there. Hey, I fucking love The Cosby Show. I know he's fucked up his life and his reputation, unfortunately, but The Cosby Show, I grew up on The Cosby Show. I love The Cosby Show. I will never say that I don't love The Cosby Show. It is fantastic. He's great in that. I don't care what the situation is now with him, but honestly, you can't take away his genius in that show. So, hell yeah, Cosby Show. So Rox says, no, I was just like teasing you and Sam, El Capitan. Have been with your channel since the Star Hop into Dumbness review of yours in 2014. I learned a lot about Star Trek text from your video. I know you have. So I'm like, why is Subraxis? I thought it was like a fake account, because we've had like a couple fake accounts on here that keep insulting New Trek, and I thought somebody might have scooped your name or something. But yeah, I was like, your comment hurt my feelings for like a second. And I'm like, wait a minute. And I had my thumb hovering over it to like hide user on channel, which means you can't comment. And I thought better of it. So maybe let me know you're joking when you say something like that. There's nothing in that whole comment that sounded like a joke. Anyway. I am honestly surprised that this much American TV is shown in Canada. Really? No, we had a lot of We had all your shows, man, plus our shows. You didn't get our shows because you weren't lucky enough. Cullen says, yes, he did. A screen used kid appeared in the background of an episode filmed at Universal Studios theme park. Nice. Benson, yes. Had 2 Trek alumni, Renee Evanois and Ethan Phillips. You get to watch Odo and Neelix interact in the 20th century governor's mansion. Yes, there was Benson. There was also Mr. Belvedere. Soap. I think Soap was in the 70s. There was a Harry and the Hendersons show for a little while. Facts of Life. Hey, we all watched it too. It's just something we can barely mention down here in the U.S. these days. Very sad. Yeah, but, you know, I'm still going to enjoy the show, so. The inspiration for the original Walker was, of course, Lone Wolf McQuaid, which, if I'm not mistaken, marked the first time Chuck Norris played a fictional Texas Ranger. Sure. Benson was great. Great TV shows were shown in all English-speaking countries in the 80s. It was cheaper than making their own content. Benson was a spin-off of Soap. Benson was the butler in one of the Soap families. Yes. Silver Spoons? Ah, yes, with Ricky Schroeder. Yes, you had Odo was on Benson. Yes. Who's the Boss? I loved Samantha. Oh, me and her are about the same age, you know what I'm saying? I hated her mom, though. Pamela, I think was her mom's name. Couldn't stand her. But Tony Danza, hell yeah. So Braxa says, are you the Misha with the YouTube channel? And yes, this Misha is the one with the YouTube channel. I'm subscribed to you. I like your reviews and I like how you caress your models. It's relaxing. Otherwise, I already purchased the USS Edison eBay. Misha says, want to know what was on TV in Russia? Sure. Ozzy says, Hardcastle and McCormick. Well, that's the wrong answer, Ozzy. I know you weren't answering the question, but I was just joking. Three's Company, yeah. Yeah. Jack Tripper. Hezraz, yep. I never watched it much, but I remember Coronation Street always popped up on CBC after or before a show I wanted to watch. I hate soap operas. Dorothy says, the best TV movie was when I was a little kid in the early 80s, maybe Dark Knight of the Scarecrow. A movie scarier than a lot of theatrical slasher movies and really atmospheric and creepy. Donnie loves Coronation Street. Misha says, has Cheers been mentioned? Hell yeah. You want to go where everybody knows your name? The Facts of Life. The Facts of Life. Family Ties, yeah, we already talked about, well, we didn't really talk about Family Ties, but Family Ties was a good one. Colin says, we got a lot of Australian TV shows in Ireland. Skippy the Bush Kangaroo, Prisoner Cell Block H, Home and Away, and Neighbours. Media once complained that young people were picking up Australian accents. Sabraxa says, did Blake 7 ever air in Canada? Probably, but like I said, when I grew up, we had like 3 or 4 channels, 4, maybe 5 if the weather was right and you could hit the antenna properly and jiggle it, and, you know, and then the UHF channels, you had like some French in there and there's like some other shit. So I don't remember ever seeing Blake 7 on. I'd heard of it, I knew about it, but I never seen it. So Another world, yeah. Misha, $5. I have two YouTube channels, one professional and boring, and the other where I film the wall and stroke things. I'm only subscribed to one, Misha, so. But thank you for the drink. Darth Eddie, I remember some of the Cold War miniseries and movies on TV in the 80s, including America, which had Sam Neill and Chris Christopherson and depicted the U.S. run by a Soviet military organization. Beachcombers, yeah, Beachcombers was mentioned. I don't remember much about Beachcombers, but I remember the one guy with like the kind of like bushy hair, and I don't remember much about Beachcombers. Oddly enough, I can tolerate Coronation Street, but I can't tolerate soap operas. It can drone in the background, some mindless TV. Colin Barrett, I know it's 90s, but everyone should see Father Ted at least once. Best Irish comedy ever made. Hell yeah for the rabbit ears. Danger Bay, Manimal is a long forgotten 80s show. Yeah, and a lot of people know about it. Like you said, it's forgotten. I've mentioned Manimal to people and they're like, to describe to them what it is, or you can change it to a snake or whatever, and there's some weird, like really weird transformation scenes, and they're like, what are you talking about? So I'm glad you people know about Manimal. Facts of Life was a spin-off of Different Strokes. Yes, Mrs. Garrett. Julian Penn, Kung Fu with David Carradine. Which Littlest Hobo series should I watch, Stuart? There was one made in 1963 and another one in 1979. I'd say watch the 1979 one, because that's the one I watched. Yeah. Have fun with that, The Littlest Hobo. Webster, Different Strokes, and Punky Brewster. Yes, yes, and yes. My household is still run by a military organization today, says Misha. America is on YouTube if you're curious. It's basically a less violent Red Dawn and more political and intrigue, and ran for several nights when it originally aired. Well, I just had something pop into my head a minute ago and I can't remember what it was now. Trying to scroll back to see if any of the comments hold. Mr. Captain says Star Trek Tinge. Star Trek Chinge. Never heard of Star Trek Tringe. Never heard of that. I always thought that they could make a sad TV about me called The $6 Man. Webster Tinge crossover, anyone? I remember that. You can see that on YouTube, actually. The fuck did I can't remember what I was gonna say. Ah, man. Mother puss bucket. Yeah, my secret identity. You'll never guess my secret identity. Son of a bitch. I cannot remember. The Mr. T cartoon, hell yeah. The 80s were so wild that even the Smothers Brothers had a brief comeback with a successful special and then another weekly series, patterned after their controversial late 60s show. Misha says, I do not want to see that again, ever. See what again, Misha? The Mr. T cartoon show? Son of a huge. What was I gonna. Okay, I'm losing my fucking mind right now, just for the record. Yeah, I can't remember. God damn it. The kid from My Secret Identity is is a voice on Lower Decks. Yeah, he does Commander Ransom, and it is Jerry O'Connell, who's also married to Rebecca Romaine, who is number one in Strange New Worlds. If you could travel back in time to any year in the 80s, what year would it be? 86, 87, somewhere near the mid but late. Can we forget that Star Trek the Motion Picture and the first two Superman movies aired on network TV in the 80s and featured lengthy deleted scenes and alternate footage never or rarely put on DVD? Yeah. Not even the motion picture, even Star Trek 2 had footage for television that was to buffer the times for the ad breaks. So there was like bonus scenes, which you tell somebody about and they think you're fucking crazy because they've seen everything there is to see about Star Trek. They haven't seen that because it's not available anywhere. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Although I think the Star Trek 2 scenes have been put back in on the DVD and Blu-rays, where they're crawling through the Jeffries tube and it's like, that man's my son. And it's fascinating. Like, that wasn't in the movie, or the theatrical release. Things like that. Like, and you remember seeing them as a kid and you're like, you never see them again after that. And you're like, was I insane? Did what? Yeah. You recently had Sean Ferrick on your channel. If is he intending to give you a shout out on Trek Culture so that it would possibly help the move up on the sub count? I don't know. It would be nice. He's had us on. We've been on Trek Culture before. I've had a few cameo appearances, and we even went on for our best episodes of Star Trek. Both me and Samuel both are in that video. So I mean, we've been on there, but yeah, I would love them to give us a shout out. I don't think they will necessarily because it's not his channel; it's a corporate channel that he works for. So, but you know, having him on our channel is at least enough crossover that should get raise some eyebrows. Has anyone mentioned Happy Days and Who's the Boss? Those are 60s, aren't they? I mentioned Who's the Boss. Yes. Happy Days hasn't been mentioned. Did watch that a bit. My parents liked that show. It wasn't on very much, though, from what I can recall. I remember the Senate scene after Peter Preston dies, and they have Kirk and McCoy mentioned that he was Scotty's nephew. Yep. Yeah, I remember that one as well. True, I swear I saw a Star Trek movie scene with an ancient Vulcan missile launch. Spock was telling a story or something, but everyone thinks I am crazy and can't find it. Probably a TV scene. A Star Trek movie scene with an ancient Vulcan missile launch. Even I think you're crazy. I don't know if you've noticed, but we know a lot about Star Trek here, and that's one I've never even heard of until your reference to it there. Was Samuel even born in the 80s? Fuck no. How old do you think Samuel is, guys? He's 27. Yeah, he's young. So no, he doesn't know any. Well, he does. I mean, because his dad probably introduced him to a lot of it. But he's young. So Hezraz, well, I just assume people think I'm making it up, but I swear I saw it. Oh well. Hey, I want it to be true. That sounds awesome. But what context would an ancient Vulcan missile launch be in any of the movies? That's where I'm confused. Can you describe the scene that you're thinking of? I want to put you under hypnosis. I want you to watch my finger. Back and forth. Back and forth. Focus on the sound of my voice. Now close your eyes. Close your eyes and focus on your breathing. Listen to your heart. Focus on the interior side of yourself. I don't know how to hypnotize people. Yeah, I wanna know what context that scene would be in. Ancient Vulcan missile launch sounds like Spock getting laid. Ba-boom boom. Colin Barrett, that was a great scene in Star Trek II where Kirk tells the cadets he gets a ribbing at the officers club because the Enterprise is a flying death trap. Misha, Samuel is young enough to be my son. I need a drink now. He's definitely young enough to be my son, so. Hez says, I know it was a couple Vulcans in front of a desk thing. You don't actually see nukes. They have those funny Vulcan hats. I believe you. I believe you, Hezrez. Thousands wouldn't, but I will, because I'm your friend, and I'm your captain, and you have nothing to worry about here. Feel free to say whatever you wish. It reminds me of Spock Prime was telling Kirk of the Kelvin timeline in 2009 movie. Shut up, dog. Lee Poe says the only movie an ancient Vulcan missile makes sense is The Final Frontier when he's talking about Cybok. But why would that be an ancient missile? Cybok's not ancient. The Darth Eddie, this year marks the 50th anniversary of The Price is Right. That show is still comfort viewing for kids who have to stay home. Yes, absolutely. And have grilled cheese and tomato soup. And probably ginger ale and crackers, because you were sick. Fuck, we're old. Jesus Christ. There was a version of Space Seed where when Khan wakes up, he grabs McCoy and holds a knife to his throat and gives his name as John Harrison. Never been able to find it again. I don't know what y'all have been smoking, but can you give me some? Because this sounds like some cool alternate shit. Subraxis, since Strange New Worlds is going to be episodic, with everything that's been going on with the States recently, can you imagine Strange New World producing a pro-abortion episode akin to TOS's Marxism? No, I can't. Misha, there are Vulcan hats? What do they look like? They look like hats that are on Vulcans. Hezraz, it could have been in The Final Frontier. LOL. No, you don't. But I appreciate your support. Colin Barrett, which is how I know that Into Darkness was about Khan when I heard the name John Harrison. Donnie Pearson, the long-running revival introduced me to Price is Right. And also to legendary Bob Barker. Talking about how Cybok didn't embrace logic like most Vulcans. Okay, well, yeah, you can see that. I can see that, Fleet Paw. That's why I'm in search of it when I have nothing better to do. Oh well, it is a good idea. Not a hill I will die on. Well, it's probably Googleable. If you, unless you're the only person that invented that in their brain, it'll be Googleable. It might be hard to find, but you might have to go down some rabbit holes, but it should be something you can find a description of at least. Do Vulcans wear earmuffs? Only when they're doing oral. Eric Martin, I used to watch the Hercules cartoon after school. Herc. What is it, Newt? I love that. That fucking music's awesome. That's also on my MP3 player. It comes on when I'm cruising around the Camaro. Hercules, hero of song and glory. Hercules, winner of ancient glory. Fighting with the might. Yeah. With the strength of 10 ordinary men. Anyway, I think we're gonna call it quits there, guys. Oh my god. Not quite 2 hours, but that's okay. I gotta go downstairs and just chill out. Ugh. This has been fun though. Like, you've brought back a lot of memories. You've really said things that all of a sudden just unlock a whole series of memories. And I hope that's been the same for you guys out there listening to this. It's a good, fun topic to talk about. I would really like some suggestions for late night live discussions. One thing I wanted to do for this one that I just kind of scrapped last minute was I want to talk about The Expanse at some point, because I have watched it all now. And there's a lot of questions I have about either I'm incredibly stupid and I didn't understand, or I just wasn't paying attention. There's a few things that, so I don't know if you guys want to talk about The Expanse. This was originally going to be what's the best sci-fi you've ever seen, or some best sci-fi series. I didn't know how to construct this one. And I thought, just go with 80s, 70s and 80s, because there's so much to talk about with that. So I'm kind of glad I did. But I'd like some ideas for topics for these late night lives. So, Fleet Pal Swiftback, $2. Last super chat to me. Stay away, Grievous. Also feeling a little bit concerned. I have this tightness in my chest. It's kind of been the last few days, off and on, but for about more than half of this live, I've had it. It's just kind of concerning. It's like, Anyway, it could have been a dream. Myth and legends. Great if you're leaving, then I have to clean the cat box. Well, thanks for that. Best sci-fi is easy. Anything that starts with the word Star Trek. Star Trek What If. Yeah, Star Trek What If would be good, but I'd really like Samuel to be involved in that, although I won't get a lot of talk time then because he'll just go off. But yeah, I could do them on these late night lives. There's definitely some good ideas there. Ideas for a late night stream. Find the most obscure things in Trek and have a discussion on weird Trek things. Okay, I'll take some of those under advisement. Don't ignore that. I did, and I wound up dead. Might be nothing, but ask your doctor just in case. Oh, it's like, 4 or 5 years ago, Sylvia and I were out for, I believe, our anniversary, and I was having like massive chest pain, and I went to the doctor. I went to the hospital, and we spent like fucking 6 hours in the fucking hospital, and nothing was wrong. And it's like, okay. But yeah, I'm feeling just a tightness right in here. So it's just bugging me a little bit. So that's kind of one of the reasons I want to end the live. But cramp maybe. Keep an eye on that, Stuart. That's the thing too. I haven't done it for a few days because I haven't had to, but shoveling snow lately, my back's been really bothering me as well, my lower back. But my lower back's kind of smartened up the last few days. But now, with this, just feeling a little concerned. So if I wake up dead tomorrow, I absolutely love you guys. And anyway, I should be fine. But thank you guys for watching. I will take some of those ideas for lives under advisement because I do want to continue to do these. We don't always have lives during the week, like Monday through Thursday, depending on the schedule, our schedules and stuff. So I want to do more lives at night to kind of make up for it. So, welcome to the 40s. Yeah, well, I'm 47. I'm like almost through my 40s. So welcome to my almost 50s. It's not a tumor. Eric, it's not a tumor. But yeah. I don't know what else to say. But I think these live discussions at night are always fun. And sometimes they're just amazingly fun. Other times it's like, this isn't going so great. This one was pretty good. The one I had a few nights ago was a lot better. just was in a flow and had a vibe, and this one is kind of like laid back and like, But anyway, I hope you guys enjoy it, and thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are all amazing. I love you guys, and I'll see you guys on tomorrow night, probably. We're probably doing a live at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time because we bumped them up an hour. So if you can tune in for that. I'm not sure what we're going to be talking about. Probably some new images from Star Trek Strange New Worlds that just came out would be my guess. And on Thursday, I have that Eagle Moss review for you guys to check out as well. So stuff coming. And, you know, you'll always see lots of us because we got a lot of Star Trek to cover and talk about. So we're always here, guys. So until next time, I'm Captain Foley. He's Commander Cockings somewhere. She's Ensign Precious the Pug. And I'll see you guys later.